Hello YouTube. So as you may know, I'm not a Marvel Legends collector, but I had to get on this because they finally are putting out some X-Men characters, and I do love the X-Men. So I decided to go all in and get the full the X-Men wave. Not exactly the team I wanted, but it's pretty good. I got this from Big Bad Toy Store. I couldn't really find a better price anywhere else, so let's crack this open. I just thought I'd unbox this on camera since I think most people don't buy their toys by the box. I don't usually buy them by the box. But it'd be fun to see a case opened up, I thought. So, that's pretty cool. This is definitely the most Marvel Legends I've bought. Probably the most yeah, you know, I probably have under 10 up until this point, so who is in this assortment? Well, let's see. We have Rogue. Oh, finally a decent Jim Lee style Rogue. By the way, the Build-A-Figure is of course Juggernaut, which is one of my favorite characters in Marvel Comics. The only crappy thing is I've already got the Marvel Select Juggernaut, which is amazing, so I'm not terribly keen on this Build-A-Figure. But anyway, moving on, we've got Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat. Nice that she comes with Lockheed, which should curl around her neck, I think. This is not a Magneto head. I think this is for the previous wave's Build-A-Figure of Onslaught. Alternate head. So, pretty cool. She's in a classic uniform, which I understand she never actually wore in the comics. I don't know where that comes from, but Havok, not bad. He'll just sort of sit on my shelf until Cyclops comes out in the next wave. Aha! Deadpool, who has suddenly skyrocketed in popularity since the movie, but that's just fine by me. Wolverine, of course. This is probably my favorite Wolverine costume, although my X-Men shelf that I've just started building is going to be from the cartoon, because that's what I'm the most familiar with. So I would have liked to have the yellow with blue stripes on him, but nevertheless, this is a great Wolverine. I love the butterfly shoulders that he's got there. Quite an ugly head for Juggernaut there. This should be a great figure. I'm eager to get my hands on him. Cable. This is an interesting design. Looks a little bit more believable with this type of vest rather than the huge padded one that I usually see him with in the comics. So yeah, not I don't know if he's exactly an X-Man. He's from the future, right? But nice to have in the assortment. Jean Grey, again, not the Jean Grey I would have wanted, but there's no way I could track down a reasonably priced Jean Grey in her sort of cartoon style costume. So we'll have her. I'll have to settle for her in the Phoenix costume. Again, this is going to be a lot of stand-ins for the X-Men shelf that I'm trying to build. And lastly, Iceman. Pretty cool. I like that. I'm not usually big on clear figures, but of course in Iceman's case it kind of makes sense. I do like the Iceman character. So yeah, this is probably one of the better ones that I've seen done. So I'm not going to open them all on camera, just wanted to show you the box and what's in the assortment. Pretty happy to have these. As I said, I'm just started making an X-Men shelf. It's going to be a mix of Toy Biz and all kinds of stuff, because I don't know why Hasbro doesn't put out cohesive sets. I mean, I get that the movie rights and whatnot were kind of holding them back from doing a lot of X-Men characters up until now. But I mean, if I were in charge of things, why not put out a wave of X-Men that are all the cartoon style? Like I don't think we've ever seen a Beast figure since the way back in the 5-point of articulation Toy Biz days that had a Beast that looks like the cartoon. And so many of us are familiar with that cartoon. The Jean Grey, they did, but she's, like I said, hard to find. Jubilee, as far as I know, they've never done a Jubilee that looks quite like that. Storm, there's a couple of old Toy Biz toys where she's in the white costume, but it's kind of a variant. Again, hard to find. I would like to see a Nightcrawler. There's a very good Toy Biz Nightcrawler that I'll probably have to track down. Colossus has seen enough love, I guess. Cyclops, yeah. Professor X, we've never seen a cartoon Professor X with his green suit. or any of that. Wolverine's been done, of course. This is the beginning here. I've got a movie Professor X, which does not really look like Patrick Stewart, so that's fine. This will be my Professor X for now. I picked him up secondhand. I also picked up a Toy Biz Pyro to go with this Iceman. And just to show the rest, I guess this is the Marvel Select Juggernaut, and he's a fantastic figure. This is a huge hunk of plastic that I got for 20 bucks. You can still find him for under 30. A fantastic figure. I think this is the quintessential Juggernaut figure. This Build-A-Figure is fine, but he's not as big as this, and I don't like the head as much. Although I guess he's a bit more cartoon accurate because this Build-A-Figure one has more of a red here. And it's fine. If I didn't have this, I'd be really happy with it. And Select, of course, is a larger scale. They're usually 7" for the average figure, but because Juggernaut is just such a behemoth, such a juggernaut, he'll fit in. And this is my Select Sabretooth. Just pick these two up because they're favorite characters of mine. And again, he's pretty big, so I think he'll fit fine along with those figures. I think they usually make Wolverine a bit too tall anyway. So I've unboxed 3 of these guys. The Rogue. One problem is I've heard in other reviews about these, you know, instead of sculpting the leg, they've just put these extra parts on, which is a bit unfortunate and kind of lazy. But this is the first time I've seen this. Her heel is kind of blown right out there. This is a QC issue. Just have a look there. See how her leg is actually split. If we tilt it here, we can see the joints. It's got a lot of extra flash on there, and it's just split right here. So I don't expect it's really going to make a problem posing here or anything. I'll trim this off, but a bit unfortunate when you're paying $22 for a figure and you get something like that. Otherwise, they're good. So here's Iceman. Iceman's pretty good. He's plastic, which makes him easy to pose. Those joints aren't as tight as they normally are, which is a good thing in my opinion. It seems to be the same body as Spider-Man, I think. The slender body with, I didn't realize he had these extra, I think they call the butterfly joints in here. But he has his own unique icy calves, forearms, and hands. And this back piece is a backpack that comes off if you prefer. The only complaint with this guy that I have is the head has, some of the face is a bit glossy. I tried washing this with dish soap thinking it was just maybe some mold release or oil, but I don't know. This would be partly glossy, partly matte. Don't really notice it so much though. And I'll probably keep Iceman because I bought the old Toy Biz Pyro to keep him company. He's a bit smaller, but not too bad. This Pyro, by the way, his hair color for some reason was almost the same color as this brown, but not quite. So I think it was actually painted. But I just went and painted it yellow with some nail polish and put a bit of a dark brown wash in there because I think he should have blonde hair. So those two will go nicely together. I think that is the same body. Yeah, same torso, waist, hips, upper legs, and upper arms, I believe. Which works fine. These are both slender male. What do you call it? Endomorphs? Endomorphic body type, I think. Let's test it. Let's give a little Spidey the cold shoulder. Come on, Spidey would have liked that joke. Could be webbing. Here's Jean Grey and her Phoenix costume. It's been mentioned before, but we get a lot of mileage out of Phoenix, even though it was only a few issues in the comics, from what I understand. But yeah, they've explored Phoenix in movies and cartoons and all that. Good figure. The only complaint I have on this one is the hair here, I guess, has been my only complaint. There's a bit of strangeness going on with the paint where the hair attaches, because this hair is a separate piece, but there is some hair sculpted onto her base head as well, so yeah, it's blended well enough. You probably wouldn't notice it, but nice figure. I would have preferred if we had a Jim Lee version of Jean Grey. Again, I would have liked to have like a set of, you know, something cohesive instead of this mishmash, different I mean, like, we've got Kitty Pryde in this classic X-Men outfit, who does not match any of the other. Then we've got this Havok from I don't know where. It's nice and all, but they're not a set. I don't really get that. Would have loved to have seen, you know, the 90s animated set, a Jim Lee set, maybe X-Men Evolution set, perhaps. You know, something to match. We'll get to her later. Here's Rogue. They share some parts, but different upper torso, which is appropriate. I think Rogue is a little more endowed, shall we say, in that area. Really nice head sculpt, good paint. So there's that ankle after I've cleaned it up. It doesn't seem to be a problem. You know, I guess you could pop it out with some force, but it's not really, you know, if you're just posing on the shelf, it's not really a big deal. And cleaning off the flash did help. So I've also taken a bit of super glue and glued down these bits because this is where they kind of cheaped out, I guess, to reuse parts. Instead of giving her a booted leg, they put this green strap here below her knee, and then this cuff above her knee. So these are both floating pieces. So I just took a dab of super glue on the end of a toothpick and put a little bit in two places on each piece. You can see it's gotten a bit of white cloudiness there. I should have used a different kind of super glue for that, but anyway, it's good enough. This floating belt I think I'll leave because, you know, that would kind of float around her waspy little waist there. So quite happy with that. I think this is the Jim Lee style Rogue with the jacket, and it's got the X symbol on either side of her shoulders there. Rogue also comes with an extra hand, an ungloved hand, which is nice in case you want to use her powers and touch somebody. So you can just pull the hand out, take the cuff off for the glove, and give her that hand, which is really nice. So she can, you know, drain somebody. Rogue. Give somebody a nice foot massage. Or do some Sistine Chapel type of love there. Very nice. Maybe she wants some green complexion and ninja powers. Nice. Wolverine is outstanding. This is definitely the best Wolverine that Hasbro has created to date. These claws are separate pieces, you know, but they're, I suppose they're slightly harder plastic than the rest. I'm not really sure. This is gray plastic. They appear to be glued on, but sort of indented. I think they sort of plugged into his fists. They work really well. I did use the hairdryer trick just to heat them up and cool them to straighten them out somewhat, but they didn't need a lot. And same with these pieces here. These were curled in just a bit too much for my liking, so I heated them up and moved them out. Got a bit of a dent in the forehead. It's less pronounced now after some heat accidentally went onto it. The nice thing is he's got these extra joints in the arms. Again, I think they're butterfly joints, so that is very nice. And he is the right height. He's a bit shorter than the other male X-Men, which he should be. And just so side by side with Sabretooth, that might be too big of a size difference, but it's okay for me. And here's Kitty Pryde, Pryde of the X-Men. If you're not familiar with Pryde of the X-Men, I suggest you search on YouTube for it. It was a pilot of an X-Men cartoon before the one we know and love. And it's definitely worth a laugh, maybe a cry. Why? Well, one reason is because, you know the meme of I'm the Juggernaut bitch? That is where the animation comes from. The video part of that, anyway, and of course it's overdubbed. It was a pilot that happened before the Fox Kids 90s era X-Men. But if that's not enough, 2 words, Australian Wolverine. Either that or somebody thought that that's what Canadians sounded like. Anyway, no complaints here. Good figure. The floating belt is nice. Looks a bit sexy. I love that she comes with Lockheed, the little dragon buddy of hers. This is one character I'm actually more familiar with because the only comic I used to read regularly was Excalibur, because I thought I would jump in. Well, I don't know if this story is worthwhile, but when I started reading, I wasn't really into superhero comics when I was a kid, so when Excalibur came out, I thought, you know, I'll read this because I can jump on at the beginning and I'll know what's happening. So, you know, Shadowcat was in that series, and Lockheed. And, yeah, so I subscribed to that one. I read it up until issue 26, I think, when they decided, oh, spoiler alert, but, and they said, oh, that didn't really happen. It was in an alternate reality or some such, and they just wiped the slate clean, and that really annoyed me. So I canceled my subscription because it defeated the whole purpose of me knowing what was going on. Anyway, yeah, Lockheed was in that. I don't know where this uniform comes from. You know, it's a nice classic X-Men style, but again, why not put her in a series where she matches with other X-Men? Anyway, I guess maybe she would look okay with that Jubilee that came out last year that nobody could get. Anyway, figure-wise, standard fare. Her bangs are a separate piece. Her ponytail is soft enough that you can kind of get her head back. The only problem I had really was that the head popped off. The head comes off very easily. Don't lose your head, kitty. I know you're young, but yeah. Well, come on. I could have made a lot of worse jokes than that. But it's a family show, so anyway, Kitty Pryde. Watch her use her special power here. Look at that, she just phased through the floor. And she comes with the Onslaught head. Who could that be? And Lockheed is here to remind you that friendship is magic. What are we gonna do now, Twilight? Twilight? What I'm saying is, it's really hard to get head from. So here's Havok. I don't really know about Havok. He's just kind of there in this wave. These bubble bath effects are pretty badass. Not so much. You know, I like how they make these type of effects nowadays. This isn't my favorite though. I don't know. I don't think Havok's powers are supposed to look quite like that. I don't know. I'm gonna guess this is borrowed from something else because they tend to do that. But I have to claim ignorance here. I don't know if this has come from another character. Probably has. I think. Oh, did they use this for Enchantress? I don't know. Anyway, forget about it. He's got some nice silver gloves. I like how they've taken the old head crest he had and wrapped it around his hair. That's a nice reinterpretation of his motif. And I guess he's like a guru now, or I don't know why he has this red dot here, but that's cool. This is alright. Got a little bit of white paint there to make it look like a glow. I think it'd be nice if instead of painted on, this would be, it had some kind of sculpting around it. But I think this is a body that gets a lot of use. I think it's the Bucky Captain America mold for the most part. Yeah, his gloves are nice. Got the silver. It does look good in black and silver. I mean, it's a fine figure. There's just not a lot to say about old Havok here. So, like I said, I think I'll just keep on the shelf just to save a place for his brother until the next Cyclops comes out. Yeah, he's alright though. I guess, you know, he's probably got some fans out there. If you're a Havok fan, maybe tell me where this uniform came from, because it is not a uniform with which I am familiar. But I'm not the biggest Marvel expert, that's for sure. So Havok. He's sturdy and very effervescent. Maybe he's just drunk. He's just gonna float around. He lives his life in an alcoholic haze. Who is this character, you ask? The Wild Man of Borneo. Cool points if you get that reference. So there's our friend Nathan here, Mr. Cable Guy, Larry the Cable Guy, I don't know. It comes with these two weapons, which will bring me to my only complaint with the figure. The hands don't really have a good trigger finger. I mean, there should be some more separation, but you can see it's molded together up until this knuckle, this mid-knuckle here, so it's not the best. But this little ammo belt is detachable. It needs a bit of heat and remolding, as you can see. These futuristic guns are kind of nice. Same problem on this other hand too. The trigger finger there is not as separated as I think it should be. But it's nice that the guns kind of share a aesthetic. You know, they look like they belong together, like they came from the same futuristic manufacturer. And he can't really get this other hand around the second grip on here very well either. It's not bad. I mean, that's pretty good. Pretty good double elbow joint there. For some reason, they had me fooled. I thought this vest was a separate piece, but it's not. It's all the upper torso, and it's got some nice sculpting. The detail and paint goes all the way down to his neck cavity there, and as you can see, his techno-organic virus here, looking really good. I do like this cable. You know, I don't mind the over-the-top look that he has in some of the comics. I think it was the Rob Liefeld comics where he had the huge shoulder pads and stuff like that. It's all right though. You know, he looks like he means business. He's got all the typical articulation you'd expect. You know, limited here by these ankle guards, which are I think they're glued on, so I'm not gonna mess with those. Pretty good figure, and yeah, he's a little bit bigger and bulkier than the others, which is appropriate. Taller too, quite a bit larger actually. Now that I see him side by side, he's a big dude. So yeah, it's a good cable figure. It's nice that he's in there. You know, again, I would have maybe, I don't know. It might have been nicer if he was in a different wave with Bishop and Forge, and they used this wave to put in the core team. But yeah, what can you do? This plastic on the gun is kind of a nice metallic green. I guess I will say it's nice that he comes in the same wave as Deadpool, though. I mean, if you're going to throw Deadpool in there, you should have Cable with him, because he's a good foil for him. And saving the best for last, now we have Deadpool, and this is a pretty good Deadpool figure. I think he was overdue for an update. The previous Deadpool figure was not so great. Neither was the Marvel Select Deadpool, in my opinion. He hasn't really had a decent figure up until now. So let's take a look at him. A lot of the parts are pretty familiar. He's using the same, I think, the Bucky Cap body again, and boy, this gets a lot of use. I was digging at my old Legends, and I think Phantom X even uses this mold, but anyway, it comes with two pistols, and they have a holster for each one, which is nice. These look like little Desert Eagles. That's pretty cool. These fit in there snugly. He has a knife that fits into his sheath. Pretty awesome. Two swords. I think they go this way. His hands are lidded. He's got his little pinky finger sticking out of this hand, which I guess is a touch of character. Nice wrist articulation. He comes with a taco, of course. I'd upgrade my taco, though. I use the bigger taco. Yeah, two grenades, belt. They got the head sculpt pretty bang on. Nice little hood with a bit there. And let's see. One eye a bit bigger than the other. It gives him a nice bit of expressiveness to his expression. Let's get that out of the way, stand up there. It comes with lots of accessories other than the taco and the swords and the pistols. He also comes with this futuristic looking rifle thing. Comes with this grenade launcher, which I hate. No, this isn't a grenade launcher, this is an automatic shotgun. And it comes with this rocket propelled grenade launcher, which doesn't have an RPG. It has this boxing glove, which is kind of funny, but seems more like something the Joker would have than Deadpool. I believe these two accessories come with the Walgreens exclusive Punisher figure as well. Oh, and of course he comes with his burned head, which looks rather like Freddy Krueger style there, but looks pretty good. I guess we should pop the head off. Sorry if I sound weird, I've got a cold and I'm in a bit of a different recording spot here. Truth be told, I'm on the floor because I get better light down here. Anyway, so that looks pretty cool. Nice Wade Wilson vase there. Hanging loose. Pretty good. Yeah, and I guess even though he would like to be an X-Man sometimes, he's not really an X-Man, but he's part of the X-Men wave, and why not shoehorn him in there with the popularity of the movie? Let's just be happy we got him. I'm going to point out his box. Normally I don't really care about packaging, but his is kind of funny because it's quite in character. They've got a little, let me show you here. They put this little cartoon here. I date me. And they've even got a little bit of graffiti there. But I guess he did himself. Yeah. Good figure. Happy to have it. Definitely be keeping this guy. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot to say about Deadpool. He's great. I don't really have any complaints with him. But this is the end of a whole box of figures, so I'm kind of out of things to say. Yep, buddy, this is the Build-A-Figure-Not, and I'm pretty stoked because this is the first time I've had all the pieces for a Build-A-Figure. Before, this is all I was able to collect before. I never had anything that even fit together. I got this Mandroid leg, I got this Thanos leg. This is I guess these two are from the same guy. This is the new Green Goblin, I think. Oh yeah, and I got these Odin the Allfather bits and pieces here. These three pieces, I think they all came together. And I got this old Arnim Zola. That would have been a nice one to have. This is another type of goblin and the Ironmonger head. But they're all useless! Useless! So, let's get Juggy together. Let's get Juggy with it. Oh god. So, yeah. It's pretty good. This plastic is different. It's hollow. The belt can come off, but it kind of sits, I guess, to hide this joint. As long as, if this is up, you can, oh, no, you gotta kind of have it down to rotate. It kind of, actually kind of gets in the way. It kind of inhibits the articulation. But it does have this. This is a good touch. I don't have this on the Marvel Select. So yeah, let's get his legs on here. This is so much fun, man. Just plug it together quite easily, as you can see here. Very satisfying. Very satisfying. Oh. Not a big fan of this head sculpt though. There we go. So there's Juggernaut. So yeah, he's pretty good actually. I mean, like I said, I'm a Juggernaut fan. I don't think this is my favorite Juggernaut by any stretch of the imagination. But let's go over what he's got. These floating pieces here, I wish they weren't floating. If I keep this guy, I'm going to super glue those in place. So it appears that the pieces that are supposed to resemble metal are with a nice wash to give it some texture. And that works nicely, but it's only those pieces. The rest of the brown doesn't have that. And I guess that makes sense because it would be cloth. But the Marvel Select has a wash that all over that makes it look more cohesive. Yeah, it's got all the articulation you would expect, really. Very big and chunky, pretty nice. I mean, it looks the part. I don't like this chip on his teeth, though. I think that's what ruins it for me. If I keep him, I'm also going to fill that in, because I've never seen Juggernaut with a chip in his teeth before. And hey, he's supposed to be... well, I wanted to say indestructible. I know unstoppable is what he claims, but, you know, I don't think he would chip a tooth, unless it happened before he had his magical bands. So, let's compare him to his Marvel Select. So, oh shit. So there's a nice pair of jugs if I ever saw one. Okay, forgive me. Yeah, I still like the Select better. Obviously he's larger. Let's see. Okay, well, I guess Kitty Pryde isn't good for scale. By the way, you know, I didn't mention it when I was looking at her individually, but I really like this Kitty Pryde figure. I think she's great. Hasbro seems to be getting a lot better at these face sculpts and paint. Although, you know, the other female characters look pretty similar, but Kitty Pryde, or Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde, whatever you want to call her, she looks youthful. You know, the overall figure is a bit smaller, which is good, and I don't know, just something really cool about this figure. I dig it. By the way, there was a bit of paint overspray on the uniform, but that came off. You can see a bit here too. I just carefully scraped it off with a hobby knife, and it's fine. I got to do that part now. But anyway, so we're talking about Juggernaut, and yeah, I think this is where they lose me here. This head is not so great. It's too, I don't know, not keen on the face really. I don't like the shape of this helmet. It's a bit too dome-like. I prefer this sort of flatter one. I mean, this looks like it's bolted down to his head, and it still has a bit of motion. I mean, all he really needs to do is that. Anyway, I mean, this one, I guess, it's on a hinge for, I guess you could put it back, and you can kind of have him looking down more. But you could also just do that with the ab crunch, so. I don't think that this helmet is the best. That again, you can see here, this is a bit more cartoon accurate or comic accurate. It's just more brightly colored, where the wash kind of loses some of the red in there. But I like how the wash is applied everywhere. It looks more, because it just looks more like a quality figure. There's also even some shading and highlighting on the arms here. You can see his flesh tone has some variation, and there's some metallic paint on top of there. And you can get this guy by himself for like $20 or so. Whereas this one is going to cost you like $100 because you got to buy the whole set. So I don't know if I'm going to keep this dude, but I mean, I don't really need two Juggernauts, I guess. Oh, but I was going to do a size comparison, wasn't I? So, alright. So here's Jean Grey, I mean Phoenix, and there's Havok. I would say Havok should be an average size Legends figure, so hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of how they size up. He's a good size, don't get me wrong. I just think that, you know, if you're going for Juggernaut specifically, there's no reason to get this whole wave. Just get the Select. You can probably still find him anywhere. That's the thing I've kind of done with Select figures. I go for the big characters. Like, I'll probably get a Marvel Select Colossus, and he'll be okay with them. I've got a Marvel Select Ant-Man. He's not big enough to go with my Avengers, but oh, and Marvel Select Hulk goes pretty well with the Legends scale Avengers, I think, too. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the Juggernaut figure. Yeah, the proportions also are kind of, I don't know, maybe too stocky. I don't know what it is. Can't put my finger on it, but there's something wrong. The only thing I do prefer on this is the some of the joints. I mean, like, I hate these ball swivel hip joint things here. Those are terrible, but you know, you can work with it, because when you try to move it, the whole thing, this spins at the same time as this spins. You got to hold this in place when you spin this. And anyway, bitch, moan, complain. You get the idea. Worth mentioning in I noticed here they call her just Phoenix, not. This torso of Juggernaut is so big, they've actually just stuffed it in there. It barely fits in the standard packaging. You can see the hump there. So, yeah, he's just bulging right out. I thought that was... You gotta respect him for just shoving it in there, though, and not changing the packaging. That's pretty cool. Human lift, bruh. So, that's tonight's evening toy. Those are tonight's evening toys. Just to mix things up a bit, I know I usually do Transformers, so throw a bit of Marvel love into my channel there. And thanks for watching, and please hit the subscribe if you like these videos, and watch a few more. Why not, huh?
I'd rather